Hey, Pete Winarski here. How is it going today? I am the founder and CEO of Win Enterprises LLC. We are here as a company really to pour our heart and soul into what it is that you're trying to do in the world as a business leader to really expand your reach, your impact for your customers, and through your company, right? So that you could be impacting your team, your employees, if you have a big team, or even for some of you solopreneurs out there who are just working with resources on a contractor basis. How do you maximize what you do to get the impact out there in the world? So that's what we're up to. A couple of things I want you to know before we get into today's message, which is all about the number one thing other people need to know about you in order to help you grow your business. Before we get there, two things. Number one, we have this webinar tomorrow, and it's called Rocket Your Revenue Success Secrets. And it's really taking all of those principles that work in a large company setting, right? Because remember, as business consultants and small business advisors and executive mentors, we play all of these roles, right? We even do some personal consulting with some individuals. So depending on the role, depends on who we're working with. And of course, we've worked with a much larger consulting, much larger companies in a consulting environment. Of course, David Tweet, my business partner, and I, we've come out of roles where we've been in some responsible P&L type position and for larger businesses. So it was a natural progression for us to go and work as consultants. We built a consulting practice from a few million to a few billion in revenue. And what we do with those Fortune 500 size companies, or company that's 100 million in revenue, as we're looking at strategy and leadership and operations improvement, and always trying to get your financials, the strength of your financials, but we may do culture, organization, et cetera. The list goes on and on. Here's the good news. All of those principles still apply in a small company, right? You just tweak them, this is what's great about principles. When you're principle based, you just have to tweak the principle to make it work in your situation, right? It's not toolsy where like, oh, that tool doesn't work here, right? The principles are principles, right? Gravity is a principle. Gravity is working. Things are getting sucked towards the center of the earth, right? That's gravity. You got gravity at work here for growing your revenue. And that's what we're talking about at this webinar tomorrow. So go.winconsulting.co/rocket is how I want you to get there. So go.winconsulting.co/rocket. And then the other thing is the More Revenue, More Profit Facebook group. Go there. We have a lot of these conversations. We're going live, right? This Facebook Live is happening on that page. So make sure you get into that community, which is facebook.com/groups/more revenue, more profit. All right, let's get into this, this concept of what is the number one thing that you want other people out there in the world to know about you in order for you to be growing your business with their help, right? So I'm not talking about advertisements. I'm not talking about creating something on your website as a lead magnet for people to opt into, and then you do the whole email drip campaign. I'm not talking about launching a Facebook group or a LinkedIn group and how you connect with people there. What I'm talking about is the old-fashioned connecting with people, having conversations with human beings, right? Wow, what a concept, right? Conversations with real human beings, getting to know them on a personal level, and making sure that they know who is it that you help, you collectively, you and your business. So you as a business leader, who do you help and how do you help them? In fact, what result do you create for them? So I had a wonderful conversation yesterday with someone local here in the town where we're located, good old Simsbury, Connecticut. And he's got a travel business. And I just love talking to this guy. It's a lot of fun. We'll probably get together outside of just the connection we had, through the computer, right, through video chat. Just it's fantastic meet and greet. Now I know a little bit more about him and what he does and how he does it, so that if I know somebody who's looking for that, I can say, hey, have you talked to Tyler yet? Let me get you his info. Here's how you can connect with him. Similarly, he now knows something about what we do at Win Enterprise. And of course, we have the business consulting practice, which is different from the executive mentoring and is different from the small business advising. But for small business advising, he now knows we help businesses grow their revenue and their profit, right? And I gave him some examples, right? So I gave him some ideas of how that happens. So if he knows other small businesses that are struggling right now, then he can direct them perhaps towards the webinar, to the Facebook group. More revenue, more profit. So gives you an idea. So what is it that you do? For whom? Who do you help? And what kind of result do you create for them as you help them? So let's think for a moment. Well, who out there in the world are we even talking about? So as an adult human being, you've got relationships out there in the world, and obviously you got friends and neighbors, but let's expand the circle. Put your adult hat on. You've got as a parent, the things that your kids are involved with, right? So you got your clubs and your, the types of things where, you maybe go to a place of worship. Maybe you have, a coach or a mentor yourself. Maybe you've got an organization that you're part of. For example, I was involved in baseball here in town for a long time, between Little League and Babe Ruth. Was on, the boards, and I coached teams, and I got to know a lot of parents, right? I got to know a lot of people who are still friends of mine that I enjoy hanging out with. So all of those people, whoever they are, it's important for them to know, hey, I've got a business. It's called Win Enterprises, LLC. And we help these groups of people. And here's how we help them. And here are the results that we create for them. So that if they have that themselves, or if they know other people who need exactly what I provide, that conversation can continue. So that's what I want for you. Now you put on your business leader hat, not just your adult hat, but your business leader hat. You've got, let's continue the list, right? Banks, attorneys, lawyers, bookkeepers, insurance agents. There's a lot of overlap. You're like, if we had two Venn diagram with two circles, there's a lot of overlap there. Try and make a, how's that for, because I can see you in there somewhere. But, you're the two circles, and there's a lot of overlap. Like in that overlap spot, you've got, attorneys. Well, for the adult, you might create a will. But for your business, you might create contracts, right? So that kind of thing. Insurance agents. For your personal, you might have life insurance or disability insurance. For your insurances for your business, you have professional liability, for example, workers' comp, right? Either way, you've got insurance agents. You got your car insurance. Those insurance agents, it would be helpful to you if they knew more about your business and what you do, for whom, and what results you create. For the same reason, right? Your building, like we're in our office right now. We have a landlord for this office because we don't own this building. We rent this building. So, the landlord, you have your home. If you're back to adulthood, you can have a rent that you pay or a mortgage that you pay for the place you live. But you could also have, of course, your business, right? Where does your business reside? Do you work out of a home office 100% of the time, or do you actually have a building? So, we're talking in this context to small business leaders. Well, remember, our small business, according to the SBA, is still a couple hundred employees, right? So you're likely to have a building, a business that is inside of a building. So you have landlord, you have people who provide services, you got the people who deliver the gas or the oil to heat the place. The seasons are turning, it's getting colder. So, think about those things. Lastly, what about your customers and your suppliers? And who are their customers and their suppliers? Who else do they do business with? And can you get into that same conversation, helping them to understand what is it you do? Who do you help? And how do you help them? And what's the result that you create for them? And if you can get that so that it's front and center in their mind, that they'll be attuned, because people want to help other people out when they hear in a conversation with somebody else that they have a need, and like bing, 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 that person sure looks a whole lot like the person that you help. And they're looking, the pain they're struggling with and the result they're seeking just happens to be aligned with what it is you do. Then a great move, because they want to be helpful, is to make the introduction for you. So get on your horse, figure this one out for yourself. Be really clear and articulate, who do you help? What result do you help them create, so that you can get the other people in your community to know that answer. And now there's the beginning of a reciprocation and a referral conversation on your behalf. This is the type of thing we're talking about tomorrow night at this webinar, this live virtual training. Excuse me. Once again, the link, go.winconsulting.co/rocket, and we'll see you there.